So boom, since the dawn of human creation, it has always been important to have a job or to be employed of some sort. Without a job, you can't do anything. As much as a lot of people would love to sit around and do nothing all day and get paid, me included, unfortunately, you gotta get a job. Now, choosing your place of employment can be a very difficult thing to do. On one hand, you want some sort of enjoyment and some money, but you don't want to sacrifice your mental health for all of the 8 or even sometimes 12 hours of your shift. And on the second hand, you just need a job. Like you are on your last dime and you're applying to anywhere. You're looking at your wallet and it's looking right back at you. With nowhere hiring and every other place asking for 5+ years of experience, you go to the one place that you know will hire you, McDonald's, or any other fast food place, I don't know. The home of the single greatest breakfast sandwich of all time, the McGriddle, a perfect combination of sweet pancake buns and a salty sausage patty that just makes you wanna, I don't even know. Working in fast food sucks most of the time. There's just so much you have to deal with. And if you work at a busier store, you're always in a fast-paced environment, which can be overwhelming and extremely overstimulating, especially when you have to deal with the window and getting orders out through the window, and then deal with the customers at the front counter while also keeping a clean and neat space while making sure the food doesn't burn in the back, and also trying to keep time too, and dealing with your managers. It's a lot. But before we get into all of that, let's start at the beginning of your fast food experience, which is the interview. And maybe this is just a me thing. I didn't actually get an interview. I kind of was just told to show up and hope for the best. You'll probably be in a group of like 5 people getting told about the fast food process together. And that's when you'll get a good gauge of the people you're about to work with and how they act and what they're like. And just for reference on what these people can, the bar is pretty low. In the interview, they'll go over a set of rules that will almost always be broken your first day on the job. The main rule that they will try to stress is being as clean as possible, even though that kitchen will always look like your worst nightmare. And of course, they're going to have the most unrealistic expectations of you. They're going to expect you to do everything at the same time and be a pro at it. And with fast food, you don't get a 7-day grace period like retail. They don't give you a week to understand everything. At least in my experience, I only got 4 days. 4 days to understand everything and work damn near every position in the kitchen. And 2 of those 4 days were spent being trained by a guy they just hired. And that guy had no idea what he was doing. And my managers just thought it was perfectly okay. Which brings us to our second point, the managers. From my personal experiences, I have never encountered a good fast food manager. I'm starting to believe that they do not exist. The things I've seen managers do while on the clock, I couldn't even begin to tell you in this YouTube video. I don't think I can say that on YouTube. Fast food managers think that they are the biggest thing in the whole world and expect you to obey their every command. And if you don't, they will try to make you the example. For example, I worked at a busier store, so sometimes we'd have very heavy rushes. It wasn't very uncommon for somebody to come in and order 25 McChickens. It happened quite often. And during these rushes, my manager's #1 thing was to make sure that our areas were clean. Even though we're making 35 McChickens and trying to get them out the window, we still have to keep the area spotless as we go. One particular day, we got an order from an entire school bus full of children, so we had to make at least 35 Happy Meals. And mind you, even making 1 Happy Meal is enough to push me past my limits, but 35? I didn't even want to look at the screen. And as I'm making my Happy Meals, I hear just a tad bit of commotion behind me. Long and behold, it's my manager yelling at one of my coworkers. And I kid you not, she said straight to this girl's face that she will never be anything in life because she cannot keep up with McDonald's timing. And after the manager said that, she got punched in the face, understandably so. And there was a whole fight that happened after. All I remember is a frying pan being thrown at some point and having to break it up. It's crazy that some managers think that they are literally God. And also some coworkers too. Some of your fellow coworkers will also pretend like they're managers and try to boss you around. Which brings us to our next topic, coworkers. Because depending on the type of coworkers you have, it could either make or break your experience. Like, it's one thing if you have coworkers that just love to joke around but also get the job done. Those are the best type of coworkers to have. But it's a whole other thing when you have coworkers that clearly do not care about the job. Their sole purpose for being there is an easy paycheck, and that is it. They will get there and clock in for 8 hours and just bullshit the whole time and somehow make more than you do. And what makes me so mad about this archetype of coworker is that they never get in trouble. They can be on their phone and hit their car in peace, but the second I drop a crumb on on the kitchen floor, I'm getting yelled at. But no matter how bad the lazy coworker is, there is no archetype of coworker worse than the one that pretends to be the boss. I have never understood that sort of mentality. We're both being paid the exact same. So why do you feel the need to try to boss me around? It makes no sense. We are both putting in the exact amount of work sometimes and getting paid the exact same. No matter how much you glaze our manager, your pay is not going up. But wait, there's more. There's just one more archetype of coworker that's almost just as bad as this one. The coworker that wants to fight every single customer that walks in. And I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of valid. These customers be tripping. I can confidently say out of all customer service jobs, fast food customers are the worst of all of them. When customers are hungry, they don't make rational decisions. They'll do anything to get their food. The drive-thru could be completely packed and there'll be that one customer just sitting there asking for fresh fries. And then when you explain that the fries are already fresh, they want you to go back in there and make them again. There is one thing that you will learn working in fast food very quickly. The number one thing that the customers hate is waiting on their food. The store will be completely busy and there'll be that one guy that's been waiting there for 20 minutes plus that is very upset because he hasn't gotten his food yet. And then you have to break the bad news. You haven't even started working on his order yet. And on top of dealing with all these angry customers, you're also being timed. If you can't solve that problem and get the customer out of the line, they're gonna blame you for it. Have you ever had to count change under a time limit? Those are the two worst things for me. I may be stupid, but counting change sucks. Maybe this is just a me thing. Call me lame or whatever you want. But when I start counting change in front of people, I get nervous. My hands start to shake and my palms get really sweaty, man. And all of a sudden, I'm second guessing every change I'm counting. And it's even worse when the customer starts to notice. Now I know that you know that I'm stupid. So now I'm even more nervous. For all the cashiers out there, man, respect to you guys. I don't know how you guys do it, man. Especially when your managers don't even want you to have a break. That gotta be illegal. For some reason, fast food managers do not want you to take a break. Lord forbid I get a little bit overstimulated and I want to take my 15. They would try to find some way for you not to be able to take it. I had a manager that would always try to guilt you into not taking it. She would always try to complain about how long she's been standing and how she's never taken a break ever. That's cool and all, but what does that have to do with me? The last time I checked, I didn't tell you to do that. But overall, I think working fast food is a great first job. You have to learn how to put up with BS and not try to fight people over it. But if I had the choice, would I go back to fast food? Hell no.